guys, welcome back to my channel and to a brand new video. Today we're going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. With it being June, we are officially in the middle of 2023 and therefore it is time for a recap of everything I have read over the past 6 months and the standout favourites. If you're interested in doing this yourself, you'll find the questions down below that you can read from. So you might see a couple of books pop up twice because they're my favourites and they answer 2 of these questions. Or you might find that there's 2 answers to some of the questions because I couldn't decide. And I think it's rude to make me decide, so here we are. Also, a huge apology for not being here the last couple of weeks. It's been chaotic. Hay fever got so bad. I think, you know, everyone's experiencing it, but hay fever got so bad I couldn't sleep. And then when you're sleeping like no more than an hour a night, you kind of go a little bit like, ooh, and you can't really do anything. So I kind of hit that, and then I went to visit my friend in Manchester, and then while I was away my hamster passed. So it's been not my time, so I haven't been filming and I'm really, really sorry. Okay, now that we've done all of that, let's dive straight in. The first question is the best book you've read so far this year. And again, I couldn't limit it down to 2. I have no idea what I'm going to pick at the end of the year. But first up, I have Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. This is one of the first books that I read in this year, 2023. And it was just amazing. This is a cozy fantasy. And we follow Viv, who is here. And she's like retired from being an assassin. And now she wants to just settle down, open a coffee shop in a world where people don't even know what coffee is. And yeah, she's going to do that with the help of her friends. And it's the most low stakes fantasy. It literally says on the front, high fantasy, low stakes, good company. It's literally the most low stakes book you'll ever read. Not much happens. But I have never felt so at peace as I have reading this book. It was so calming, so relaxing. I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved the characters. It was just such a good time. I cannot even begin to comprehend to you how good this is. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. Quite a few people, you know, just say it's boring, which I completely understand. But for me, whenever I'm feeling anxious, this is the kind of book I want to read. And so this was perfect to have found, and I absolutely love it. The other book is not so calm, and that is Haunting of Blackwood House by Darcy Coates. This is amazing. We follow Mara, and she moves into a house following her childhood being a little bit brutal in her mind because her parents were mediums and made her join in with the seances, and she thinks that they made her scam people. So when she is trying to find a house and comes across a haunted house, she is very much against the belief that that is true. She's like, nah, it's not. And she's completely in denial. But she does in fact live in a haunted house. And yeah, it's just her experiences. I just really love this book. I really like the writing style. Everything about it just made me really, really happy. I couldn't really decide between this one or Haunting of Ashburn House. I've settled on this one, but I think, to be honest, I'd need a reread to know which one. But yeah, I really, really loved this so much. Next, we have the best sequel you've read so far this year. I've had quite a few 5-star sequels, but they've all been books where I started the series this year, and I wanted to go for one where I hadn't started the series this year. So for that, I decided to go with Lights by Brenna Thumler. This is not actually out yet. This comes out at the end of the year, but I did luckily get an arc of it, so I have read it, and I've absolutely loved it. The first book, Sheets, follows... what's her name? Audrey? Marjorie. It's Marjorie. So we follow Marjorie, and she has lost her mother and her father's very depressed. So she's running the family laundrette business. And then Wendell, a ghost who unfortunately is a boy who lost his life at a young age, leaves the town of ghosts and comes and finds her. And he's in a sheet. That's why it's called Sheets. Oh, it's so cute. Well, Lights was the final installment of this series. It had me sobbing. It was so good. It was such a good end to the series. The whole series for me has had 4 stars. I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant for all age types. No matter how old you are, you will love the story, I imagine. That was my favourite sequel for a book that I haven't read this year, if you make sense. Then we have a new release this year that I still haven't gotten to, and that is Atalanta by Jennifer Saint, which is disgusting because I was going to read this on release day. This was going to be the release day book, but I was in a little bit of a slump when this released in April, and apparently then I just never went back to it, which makes no sense to me. Obviously, this is a mythology retelling following Atalanta. That's all I know. But I just really am sad I have not read this, like heartbroken. I don't think it would take me long at all. Like it's 350 pages. I love mythology, and you wouldn't think so, but I actually fly through it quite quickly. So I don't know why I haven't picked this up. Like I really frustrate myself. Truly, I frustrate myself. Next we have the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Now for me that is going to be Free Me by Ashley Winsteck. Rostek? Probably should have checked. Is it even Free Me? I think it's Free Me. Ashley Rostek. So this actually is a series that I literally only read night before last. I decided I wanted to read a little bit before bed, and on my Kindle I had the first book. And I was like, now's a good time to read it because I have my Kindle Unlimited subscription, so if I enjoy it, I can continue. I binged the entire 3 books at night, and I didn't start the first one till midnight. Like it was literally meant to be a couple of pages before bed. I didn't sleep very well. Then when I got to the end of the book 3 and it was on this massive cliffhanger, I found out that I went to click the 4th book. I was like, it was, you know, it pops up with the next book. I clicked it and I was like, failed. And I was like, why is it failing? Don't fail on me. And then I was looking at it. It does not release until August 31st, which I know seems so close. But I need to know now. I need to know right now what's going to happen. I think that's the final book. So pray I won't have to wait any longer than that to find out anything more. But this series took me by storm. It is a reverse harem series, but it's actually quite dark. Like the girl has escaped her stalker, and she is the final girl in her family after watching her parents and her twin be murdered by the stalker. So she has a lot of PTSD, a lot of trauma, and it really handles those topics well, in my opinion. I do not have PTSD, so take that with a pinch of salt. I don't know if there's No Voices reviewer you can find that from. I am just in love with the characters. The thing is, I love a lot of these, you know, romances where the girl is set in, like, she's 18, she's just leaving school age, but she hasn't quite left yet. But the thing I love most about this story is it's not cringy. Like, they can confess their love to each other without these cringy monologues that always make me like, ugh, I hate it. Like when they're like giving spiels of like, I'll do anything for you, and I'm like, ugh, the sentiment's there, but like I don't need like a 2-page monologue. Ew, it's so gross. This one doesn't do that. It kind of actually feels like you're reading about real people, which I love, and I love the men in it so much. It seems so normal. It's set in Texas. Is that true? It's set, no, Arizona. Somewhere where it's like really dry. Really dry. And they live next door to each other. She moves in, she's on like witness protection program. She moves in next door to these 4 boys. They are brothers, and yeah, she dates them all. It's like, it's got smut in it, but it's not a smutty series. Like this has like a lot of plot and a lot of depth to it. But there is also a little bit of steam as well. But yeah, I am so excited for that last book. Like I'm literally counting down the days till August 31st. I will be reading it at midnight. I can smell the pollen coming through my window, and I can just feel my nose going, nope. Not today, please, not today. I don't want this. Number 5 is my biggest disappointment. I have 2. Typical me. I have 2 disappointing books. So first up, I've already gotten rid of my copy, but that would be God Killer by Hannah Kaner. I was so excited about this book. I featured it in my anticipated releases for the year. I thought it was going to be amazing. The only thing amazing about that book was the cover. Although I know a lot of people liked it, so again, this is just my opinion. I'm always scared I'm going to be attacked the minute I say this. It was just boring, bland, nothing unique about it. The characters had no depth. The storyline had no depth. She was supposed to be a god killer, yet the minute she met a god, she was like, okay, he needs help, fine, woo. There was no like inner turmoil, no like inner, oh, should I, shouldn't I? It was just a wind up in my opinion and a waste of my time. I'm not going to hang around too long on that because I really, really don't want to make this a negative video. But I did not like that book at all. And then the second one I have for this question is Heartless Sky, which is the 7th book in the Zodiac Academy series. This is 1,000 pages, or sorry, 989 pages of a waste of my time. A waste of everybody's time. You could literally skip this, read the last 20 pages and be like, okay, I know what's happening. move on. Like, it was a waste of my time, it was a waste of your time, it was a waste of the writer's time, a waste of everybody's time. And now the authors have gone and said they need like another 2 books or something. No, how about you just didn't write this rubbish? I love the Zodiac Academy series. It's one of my favourite series ever. It's like a 5-star series, but this, no. Not this. This does not count. Number 6, though, is my biggest surprise. And for that, I have Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. Now, I know everybody was loving this, but I didn't know what it was. I kind of thought it was a mystery based on the cover. Like, you would not take romance from this cover. Oh, but it is. It's like a Gossip Girl-esque toxic romance set in London between BJ Ballantyne and Magnolia Parks. And this was just so good. This was 5 stars. This took my heart, and I've never stopped thinking about it since. Honestly, such a big surprise. I expected to read it and be kind of like, oh yeah, 3-4 stars. Like, I enjoyed it. It was a fun romance. I didn't know it was the kind of romance where it's like toxic as shit. But I loved this. Magnolia Parks is my everything. I stand her to the end of time. BJ sucks. Like, I see so many people saying how much they love BJ, and I'm like, I don't get it. But maybe I will when I read the future books. Who knows? But for this one, not a stan. I love Magnolia. But yeah, toxic romance set in London, Gossip Girl-esque, lots of drama. If that's your kind of thing, this is it. It's so good. And it definitely was a surprise because I did not expect to love that. Then we have a favourite author, either their debut or they're just new to you. So for me, I'm going again for Darcy Coates. As you can see here, I'm growing a little Darcy Coates collection. I found her at the beginning of this year with Haunting of Ashburn House. And since then, I've just been kind of taken by surprise so many times in these books. There's been 1 or 2 that I haven't really gelled with, but for the most part, I just absolutely love Darcy's writing. I absolutely love the concepts. I feel like, especially this book and Ashburn House, they are like cozy horror haunted house novels, and they've been such an inspiration actually to my own writing journey, because now I'm writing a very like inspired book for personal enjoyment. And yeah, my life's honestly changed. My reading tastes have changed so much thanks to Darcy, so the best thing I could have found this year. 8 is my newest fictional crush, and I'm going again with the Find Me by Ashley Winsteck series. Ashley Rostek series, my god. The Winsteck series. Forget it. You know what I mean. I've got this picture up. I love all 4 boys in that series, but I really love Keelan. He is my favourite, and so it's got to be him. Like, I have a lot of fictional character crushes. So many. But this guy is my most recent, so... I love this series. This really took me by surprise. 5 stars for all 3 books, and that never happens. 9 is my newest favourite character. So for that, I'm going to go for Legends and Lattes again, and I'm going to go for Thimble. Thimble! I don't know if you can see Thimble, but he's down there. He's a baking mouse. He's a baking mouse. I have to show you something. One sec. It relates, I promise. This is Thimble. Connor got me this for my birthday. I think his brother's girlfriend, oh my god, his brother's girlfriend drew this for me. It's Thimble holding his wooden spoons, because in the book there's a line about Thimble holding wooden spoons. Ah! Thank you, Connor. So yes, all that to say, Thimble has my absolute heart. I love him so much. And it's just the way that, like, it's the simple description. So at one point he's like sitting on a bar stool and he's just swinging his legs. Connor was on FaceTime when I read that book, and honestly, Thimble is the reason I love it. He was literally like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Thimble!" every 5 minutes. Where do we have Thimble? Next time I read it, I'm going to annotate it. I'm going to have a Thimble only colour of tabs so that I can easily flip to Thimble moments. See? While the dough rose, he approached with a nervous twitch of his whiskers and whispered, "Latte?" "Thimble, I'll keep a fresh cup in front of you all day if you want." His body wriggled with pleasure. Thimble sends me on edge. Thimble is my everything. Obviously, I am quite a large fan of rodents because I have three hamsters. Oh, that was really sad. I had 4 until the recent passing. I have 3 hamsters. Oh, hang on, that was really sad. That was really sad. Anyway, I have 3 hamsters and 1 spirit angel hamster. And yeah, so it's quite obvious I'm a rodent fan. So I guess Thimble the mouse just took the cake. Now I want a mouse. I want to call it Thimble. So cute. Moving on from the gorgeous Thimble, we have number 10, which is a book that made you cry. I tear up at a lot of books. I cry at a lot of books. So this was a hard one, but I went for Hex by Jenny something, I want to say. I'm not entirely sure. Pitch will be here. I don't have a physical copy yet, but I will be. This is a super short novel that really stuck with me. Like, I was really upset reading this. Kind of flips between time. We follow a modern woman who's kind of gone back in time as a crow to visit a woman who's been accused of being a witch, and she's been locked in the dungeons, and she's going to be hung, and she talks about the horrifying things that have happened to her, and they truly are horrifying. It's the most beautiful story about womanhood and loving your sister. It's the most heart-wrenching, beautiful book. I can't talk about it too much, it'll make me cry. On the flip side, it is a book that made me happy. For that, I'm actually going to go with It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I recently did a Tessa Bailey reading vlog where I read a lot of Tessa Bailey's books, and both this and Hook, Line and Sinker, the sequel, made me really, really happy. This I gave 4 stars because I had my problems with it, but it really hasn't left my brain. Like, enjoyment levels, I had the best time. We follow Piper, who's like this really spoiled rich girl, lives in LA, I want to say, and then her stepdad and her mother ship her off with her sister, who comes by option. She's a good girl. They ship her off to this little seaside town called Westport, and when she's there she meets Brendan, who is a local fisherman, but this is the town where her dad grew up, so it's got like small town vibes. Brendan is like grumpy, and she's, would she say sunshine? Yeah, she's very optimistic, very sunshiny, I'd say. But she really quickly switches up who she is. Like, she's not this like spoiled rich kid for long, which I really appreciated. Like, I think it was quite evident that she was not that person. She was just put in a situation where she felt she had to be, and her true self came out really, really quickly, which, yeah, I was really, really glad about. I had the best time. I think these guys had great communication. There was not much miscommunication trope here. He was cruel to her. He apologised to her. You know, it was lovely. I really, really enjoyed this. It made me really happy, and I can see myself rereading this over and over again. Number 12, the most beautiful book you have acquired this year, and I couldn't pick, so I have 2. First up, we have this gorgeous edition of Little Women. It is the Painted Classics edition. The whole series is absolutely beautiful, and I would absolutely love to pick them up. They are so affordable. I bought this in a bookstore for $14.99. I was so impressed. I've got the rest of the books on Amazon on my wish list for £10.50, I think they are, which again is such a bargain, but it's nice to support bookstores, so I did pick this up there. But it has gilded edges, it's painted, it's so beautiful. I think it's illustrated on the inside. Yeah, but it is in this weird little red, but it's the same image, I think, over and over again. It's not like new, fresh images. But let me check. Oh, it's kind of, and it's got like quotes and stuff. It's really, really beautiful. I really, really like this edition, and I'm excited to collect them all. My other option, because I really couldn't choose between the 2 of them, was Your Darling Death by Lauren Carter. This is just so stunning. Like, I absolutely love this. I really love that the synopsis is not on the back. It just says, "It was raining the day you died." Oh, you can't really give a synopsis to this book though, to be fair. It's so like short and shocking. But yeah, it's got gorgeous artwork. Only thing I'll say is it follows the day of your funeral. And you are dead, and your wife is, I guess, kind of writing you a little letter, or telling you about the day. This is beautiful inside and out. And it's a really short horror novella. So yeah, beautiful cover. Number 13 is what books do you need to read before the end of the year? So I have got here the remaining 2 books that I have not read yet in the Magnolia Park series, We have Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. And the only reason I haven't read this yet is because I'm absolutely terrified of finishing up Magnolia and BJ's story. If you're not familiar with the series, there's a Magnolia Park's book, the first one, then there's a Daisy Hates book, and they feature the same timeline. So everything that happens in this book will happen in this book, but you follow different characters so you see new things. But this is the last of Magnolia Parks, and I don't know if they're going to end up together or not, and I'm absolutely terrified. I don't want them to end up together, because I really liked a different person in the book, but there's no way, I don't know, in my heart, there's no way that they're not going to. But also, I don't know that for sure, like, I just think that. I really don't know, but this one's so chunky, and then this one's so not. Like, this one's 550 and this one's 350, but that's because it's Daisy Hates, and I don't like her at all. She sucks. Like, what are you gonna worry about? So yeah, Daisy Hates is not my favourite character at all. I really just liked her first book. I mean, I gave it 3 stars because it was still the Magnolia Parks world, but her as a person, hate. I hate Christian, but I love Julian, and I think there's more of Julian in this book. But yeah, really need to finish off this series. So these two are priorities for the end of this year. I don't think it's going to take me long, because I think the minute I dive into this one, I'll just go straight into this one. But it's just about being in the right headspace and having a day to sit down and binge it all. Number 14 is my favourite book to movie adaptation. But I'm going to have to kind of like... I watched the movie first, basically, and then I read the book. But that would be A Man Called Ove. I went to the cinema to see this movie 7 times, I think. I have never been to the cinema to see a movie that many times ever in my life. I really like Tom Hanks as an actor. I think that he's got a lot of really good movies. So when we were looking for a movie to go to the cinema to see, because I just love going to the cinema, I kind of just... There's not many good movies in the cinema anymore. It's unfortunate because everything's going to streaming, and I would like to go to the cinema, but nothing is ever in the cinema that I want to watch. And Marvel's declining quickly, so like I don't really want to go see those in the cinema anymore. So I was like, this looks cute. We watched the trailer and I was like, oh yeah, that looks really cute. Let's watch that. I like an little old man, you know? That sounds fun. Kind of like controlled my life. I think I watched it first at the end of December, but I watched it all the way through January. You know, Jade and Connor came to my house and I made them go to the cinema to see it. We were all sobbing. Every time I watched it, I cried harder. You think it would get enough after 7? I made all my family go see it. All of them, even people who never go to the cinema. I was like, right, off to the cinema you go. And I made them all go. Like, I was kind of like psycho about it, but I adored it. I read the book and I gave it like a 4 stars. I think it was good, but I don't think it was as good as the movie, in my opinion. I know. I think it depends on what you've seen first, and I just absolutely loved the movie. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I also recently watched the Summer I Turned Pretty series with my sister, and I'm not going to say that it was good, because was it? No. But it was so entertaining, and season 2 comes out in August and I will be watching it. It was really, really entertaining. Even though I never read those books, I hauled them and then I unhauled them, so oops. So that is all for my mid-year freakout tag. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing a bit of a reflection on my year of reading so far. Definitely tell me what your favourite book of the year has been so far. Please, I must know. And yeah, I shall see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!